Well, hello and welcome back to Progressive Plan Inc. Quick Tip number 4. Today, let's start with a review of last week. Last week we talked about the premise document. And I believe that I made the statement that I personally wasn't aware of any legitimate turnaround management process or program that did not include the premise document as a key deliverable. Right? Today I'd like to talk to you about a set of documents that might not be included in everybody's turnaround management process, but you should certainly consider it, I would think. And that would be the power of a charter. So let's just cover off what a charter is to start with. A charter is the first one, if it was issued by the government, that would be one thing. But if we go down to number 2, when we're talking about a document that declares a city, town, or corporation has been established, like a town charter, a corporation charter, describes basic laws and principles of a group like a United Nations charter. So that's the type of charter that I'm actually referring to here. Okay? So, of course, you can't really open a discussion about charters without at least a brief nod to perhaps the most famous charter ever written, the charter that changed the world, as they say. But this isn't intended to be a history lesson, so we're just going to leave the age of kings behind us and move forward and talk about the strategy team charter. I'm going to talk about the strategy team charter, and I'm going to talk about a follow-up to that. So ideally, what works best is if the leadership team that has adopted the turnaround management process, adopted, purchased, however they came about it. And the first thing, the leadership team, by leadership team, we are literally talking about the C-suite here. Okay? So the leadership team clearly wants, on a decision that they've included in their mission and value statements, they clearly want that to actually take place. So they're going to want to have somebody accountable, take accountability for seeing that the tenets of the turnaround management process that they've adopted are being followed. And that would be the strategy team. And the way this is going to work is the leadership, as the final act before they turn this thing loose into the group, they're going to charter a strategy team. The charter they have created will outline literally to the letter the degree of accountability that the C-suite expects the strategy team to exert over the long-term strategic maintenance plan and the turnaround process. Now, the way charters work out is they leverage the basic human nature that the vast majority of us have an internal willingness to deliver on promises that we have entered into of our own violation. And that is what a charter document leverages. So the C-suite now passes this charter, offers, it's really an offer. You have the opportunity to turn down. They offer the strategy team the charter for the turnaround management process. And the strategy team accepts that charter by signing off on it and accepting the accountabilities that are outlined within the charter document. You see how this is working? It's a powerful, powerful accountability management tool that isn't being imposed on, but is being accepted by. So then, now we have a strategy team charter. The very first thing that I would recommend the strategy team do is charter a steering team, or perhaps several steering teams, right? It's in a lot of organizations nowadays, you would only ever have one typically turnaround strategy team, because that would sit up at like a vice presidential level, just below the senior leadership level, and be overseeing the entire thing. But a strategy team might oversee any number of steering teams, depending on the size of the organization, how many different facilities, how spread out things there are, how much stuff's going on at any given time. So the very first thing the strategy team should do is create a steering team charter. And then they should seek sign off on the steering team charter. The exact same process that leadership has just completed at the strategy team level. Now the strategy team level needs to do that exact same thing at the steering team level. And again, you're getting people to, of their own violation, accept the accountabilities and responsibilities outlined by the charter document. And this then becomes one of the single most powerful accountability management tools that I know of. No amount of carrots and sticks and whips and chains are ever going to accomplish as much as getting people to sign off on their signature on a promise to deliver. That all being said, just before I go, I'll share this with you. I did have an occasion, like typically your strategy team charter is signed right at the very beginning when the entire process is created. But what if there was a lot of change in the company? What if, for instance, you ended up in a position where none of the signatures to your strategy team document were actually still in those strategy team roles? Then it might seem like a good idea to you to have the strategy team document re-signed by the current holders of those particular positions. And don't be surprised, because I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, getting the signatures on these documents can be the single most difficult thing any turnaround manager attempts to do. Don't let it get the better of you. These documents are the power to succeed. Without them, I don't know what to tell you. Have a very good day. I hope to see you again next week.